It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. Today was the day that Karen Bass unveiled her budget and did her State of the City address for 2025. And despite the fires and the homelessness and everything else that's going wrong, Karen Bass would have you believe everything is on track and we're doing a great job, including with LAPD staffing.
And I'm pleased to report that we have hit a 4-year high of applications to join the LAPD. But the frustrating part...
Wait, there's more? 4-year high in applications, but we're still frustrated? Oh, no!
The frustrating part is that the city's broken system now stands in the way of actually hiring those applicants. So that's why, you know it's coming, Malika. That's why I appointed a new head of the personnel department with a clear directive. Stop the bureaucratic madness. Overhaul the system.
Oh, my.
How's that for pressure? And get officers hired and on our streets.
So identifiable problem that we've had for years is LAPD is very low in staffing. Part of that was due to, hiring freezes, attrition, and of course the kick in morale's teeth thanks to the Black Lives Matter defund the police riots that were going on. And we've been trying to do everything we can to increase staffing at LAPD. The problem is it takes so long to go through the mess of a bureaucracy in the city of Los Angeles that let's say you applied for LAPD at the same time you applied for Burbank PD. Even before LAPD gets back to you, you've already been hired by a much safer police department. Even people going through the academy, the background check, all of this stuff takes so long, even though we're spending so much money on advertising and outreach. The people are putting in their applications, but the city has been failing at actually being able to process those. So I'm glad she's addressing that today, but should we have been working on this the whole time? I mean, this is something that she's announcing at the State of the City, something she wants to do, not something that she has done. But of course, it's Karen Bass, so you can't just talk about how great the police are. You got to talk about all those non-police programs, too.
We also created a first-of-its-kind Office of Community Safety, which works to prevent crime and reduce violence across the city. The office works with trained and trusted intervention workers.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
They have built trust with the community and are uniquely qualified to stop gang violence and stop cycles of retaliation. They are an essential part of our crime-fighting strategy.
So we have these trained interventionists that are supposed to talk down the gang members from constantly shooting each other up. Well, who are these people? What are they qualified for? And what exactly are they making? I happened to find out the answer to that question when I listened in to Karen Bass on Friday. Before she unveiled her budget to the public, she unveiled a budget preview to Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. And she specifically talked about the programs that she is budgeting that would appease the people that want her to defund the police. And included in that are these community interventionists. And when I found out who these people are and what they're getting paid, it was interesting.
The other driver of the deficit were the raises, and I know you talk about raises to police, but raises were given to all city workers.
So part of the reason the budget is in a massive hole, $1 billion, although now it's down to $800 million, is that Karen Bass gave raises to every single city department, not just police for retention and fire for retention. Everybody, including the departments that don't make any sense. Like, I don't know, the ones that are doing the hiring that can't properly process the paperwork for LAPD officers. They got a raise too. Everybody got a raise.
Because when I found out that 64% of city workers do not live in Los Angeles because they can't afford to live in Los Angeles, then we raised the salary. I think I mentioned to you last year that one category of the workforce that I was very concerned about which we'll get into a little later, is the workforce that works with Deputy Mayor Ken and Lane, who are the community intervention workers.
Okay, here we go. She's talking to BLM about the community intervention workers and why she was so concerned to make sure these people get big raises.
Who were paid $40,000 a year. Now, all of them were formerly incarcerated, gang involved, etc., who are now involved in restoring our community. And I was concerned that you can't survive on $40,000 a year. We gave you a $20,000 raise. Frankly, I don't think that's enough.
Wait a second. So these ex-con, former gang member intervention workers were getting paid $40,000, and that wasn't nearly enough. So Karen Bass had to give them a 50% raise, not 15, 50. And why, oh, why is that?
I would like to pay them more than that, because especially if we've been operating in the legal and the illegal economy, I don't want you to go back to the illegal economy. And so I want to pay you enough so you don't have to do that.
So again, this is Karen Bass pleading to the BLM crowd not to protest her. She wants you to know that she has a program that is now paying ex-cons $60,000 a year. We're not sure to do what, except that if we don't pay them that money, they may go back into a life of crime and reoffend. We are paying ex-cons to stay out of crime. Interesting concept, I'll tell you that. But of course, are we going to see any cuts with all the layoffs that are looming from the city of Los Angeles in any of these programs?
You should know that in order to close the budget deficit from $800 million, we did a variety of things, and we've now reduced it down to $200 million. So it's the current deficit with all the things that we did is now $200.
Who brought their kid to this?
Is now $240 million. None of the things that we did involved a cut to social services or human services. There were no cuts made there.
So there will be no layoffs of the ex-con community intervention workers. They got a 50% raise last year. We're not totally sure what they do, but we better pay them, and we should pay them more. Otherwise, they're going to go back to the gangs. Okay. It's a fascinating time to be in, isn't it? Karen Bass also addressed the LA County Board of Supervisors cutting off LAHSA and all the corrupt funding that's going on there.
Now, partnership is so important. Partnership here in this room and throughout the county and all 88 cities in it. But in the wake of the county's decision to withdraw from LAHSA and audits confirming what we already know.
You mean that it's corrupt and there's a whole bunch of money missing, and the person you appointed was wiring checks from LAHSA to her husband's nonprofit?
The system is broken. It must be transformed. However, I'm concerned that there is the potential danger of going backwards into silos.
She does not want U.S. Attorney Asaley looking into where that money went.
And frankly, just creating new bureaucracy is not in and of itself transformational. Moving forward, we must make sure we have a comprehensive and regional approach. And the city of Los Angeles is ready to continue down the road of reform and solid, meaningful partnership.
That doesn't mean anything. And yes, I'm skipping over the applause lines.
Year after year, the broken system allowed the crisis to grow. In 2016, voters approved Measure HHH to build 10,000 units of housing. At the time, LA had about 25,000 unhoused residents. But by the time I took office, less than 2.5 years ago, that number had grown to more than 46,000 unhoused Angelenos.
The more money we spend on the problem, the bigger the problem gets. How exactly does that make any sense? But Karen Bass says we've got to spend even more, because if we don't, it's going to cost us.
Because the cost of leaving an encampment on the street impacts everyone around. Small businesses pay the price when their entrances are blocked. People lose their jobs when restaurants lose customers. Residents feel safer when encampments are removed and people are housed. The LAPD will report that crime is down at locations where encampments were removed and people were housed.
So you're admitting that the encampments are full of criminal activity that we could be doing something about, but don't you worry, they're in a Motel 6.
And just last week, Chief, the fire department shared that nearly a third of fires in Los Angeles, a third of fires, involve someone who is homeless.
I'm shocked, I tell you. Although I think the number's actually higher. But yes, Karen Bass admitting homeless encampments are nothing but fires and, of course, crime. But, you know, we got to get these people into motels.
An ambulance ride costs thousands.
That's a weird way to say that.
An ambulance ride costs thousands.
And by the way, speaking of the homeless fires, I was listening to this speech on my way home from Culver City to my house here in the San Fernando Valley. And I get off the freeway, the 405 at Burbank, right at the Sepulveda Basin. And I kid you not, I was listening to Karen Bass touting about how great the Olympics are going to be and how we're going to have a whole bunch of events in the Sepulveda Basin, like archery and a whole bunch of other things. And I kid you not, as I am on Burbank Boulevard, getting off the 405, crossing over to the Sepulveda Basin to get to Woodley, I see to my left a fire truck and a bunch of smoke because, yes, it was another homeless fire in the Sepulveda Basin. Oh, the Olympics are going to be great.
An ambulance ride costs thousands, and so does a night in the emergency room. Multiply that by the number of encampment incidents every year, and it's clear that the cost of doing nothing is not just inhumane, it is also financially unsustainable.
So we put a couple thousand of these people in motels, left the other 40,000 to do whatever they want, and that's a success. Yeah, I don't think so. But let's get to the real meat of this thing. Karen Bass has to address the giant elephant in the room, the 800-pound gorilla that is the budget.
But the reality is, our city faces a more than an $800 million deficit. Cities like ours are going through challenging economic times across the nation.
Well, it's mostly big cities in California that got a whole bunch of money during COVID, spent it on things that ballooned the budgets. The COVID money's gone, and now all the cities are broke.
Turmoil and uncertainty from Washington and a slowing economy are causing lower revenue projections.
No. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. That is definitely true. Tourism is down. That's definitely true. But these budget problems go way before anyone was elected president.
To the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Liability settlements have tripled from backed up lawsuits during the pandemic and uncapped damages. Combined with personnel costs.
Well, maybe we should stop settling every lawsuit. But no, it's the city of Los Angeles. We don't fight no matter how frivolous it is.
Combined with personnel.
I mean, hell, we settled with Mark Ridley Thomas, a now convicted felon, when he was on trial for his corruptions, to sue the city because they removed him from the city council. And so we had to give him his back pay plus damages, all while we paid his replacement, Heather Hutt. The city of Los Angeles is bad at handling money.
Combined with personnel costs and, of course, the fires and rebuilding all together, Los Angeles, we have
personnel costs like, making sure the ex-gang members get 60 grand a year instead of 40 grand a year.
Los Angeles, we have a very difficult budget to balance. Since January, I've been in active conversations with our partners in labor to find solutions to address a worsening economic outlook. We identified new revenue to offset costs. We reduced funding for the mayor's office.
Mayor's office gets a lot of funding, so that's good, but it's still not nearly enough. Are you taking a pay cut? Are the city councilors and their top advisors taking pay cuts?
We further eliminated ghost positions, and we postponed.
By the way, that was the big fix to the budget last year. Oh, we're going to eliminate a bunch of vacant positions. That included mechanics for the fire department who were supposed to be fixing the fire trucks, and that's why we had a whole bunch of fire trucks that couldn't be used to fight the devastating Palisades fires, and a whole bunch of firefighters got sent home. So yeah, that's great too.
And we postponed some capital projects. But now I would like to take a minute to address our city workforce directly. Make no mistake, you are this city's greatest asset.
Especially those community intervention workers.
Every single day you come to work in dedicated service to the people of Los Angeles, and often in challenging working conditions. You help Angelenos and you help make our city better every day. But I want to be straight with you.
Oh, you knew there was going to be a but.
But I want to be straight with you. My proposed budget, unfortunately, includes layoffs, which is a decision of absolute last resort. The city attorney and I will be in Sacramento this week to meet with legislative leaders and advocate for resources while also working to manage the increasing liabilities.
Of course. Karen Bass has to make layoffs unless Gavin Newsom would like to bail out the city of Los Angeles, even though the state is also facing massive budget problems.
The city attorney and I will be in Sacramento this week to meet with legislative leaders and advocate for resources while also working to manage the increasing liabilities. So let me assure our hardworking public servants that I will never, ever stop fighting for you.
So if we get bailed out, what happens next year if you're not going to make the layoffs? Because we spend more money than we are taking in, and I don't think the money we're taking in is going to be going up anytime soon. In fact, it's most likely going to go down. So if we don't make the layoffs this year, do we get another bailout next year and the year after that? How exactly do we fix this problem? I don't think a bailout is really the right solution here. There has to be fat in the city government. You know there's fat in the city government. Whether it's salaries or all the money that we dole out to nonprofits, there is plenty of waste, fraud, and abuse. How about some pay cuts? For one, why are members of the LA City Council making $220,000 a year when the average person who lives in this city is making about $65K? How does that make any sense? But here's what I want to hear from you as you're hearing Karen Bass's budget presentation. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. Karen Bass has an $800 million budget shortfall. She's going to need to do layoffs unless Sacramento can bail out her budget. Do you think Sacramento should be bailing out Karen Bass and the city of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Do you want to see a bailout, or do you think it's time for layoffs in the city of LA? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Get on the phone right now, 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. On the state of the city, Karen Bass announced that there will be layoffs in the city of Los Angeles unless she can get a bailout from Gavin Newsom in Sacramento.
But I want to be straight with you. My proposed budget, unfortunately, includes layoffs, which is a decision of absolute last resort. The city attorney and I will be in Sacramento this week to meet with legislative leaders and advocate for resources while also working to manage the increasing liabilities.
Let's not forget that the state is also facing a budget shortfall. And if you set a precedent that you're going to bail out every city with a bloated budget, well, if they do it for LA, why wouldn't they also do it for San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose, and of course, Oakland? I want to hear from you at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Karen Bass is going to Sacramento next week with hat in hand, begging for money to bail out the city of Los Angeles. Do you think the city of LA should be getting a bailout? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll get to you next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. We're taking your phone calls right now at 800-222-KABC. Karen Bass had her State of the City address, and she announced that because of the budget shortfall, there's going to be over 1,000 layoffs in the city unless Gavin Newsom wants to bail her out.
But I want to be straight with you. My proposed budget, unfortunately, includes layoffs, which is a decision of absolute last resort. The city attorney and I will be in Sacramento this week to meet with legislative leaders and advocate for resources while also working to manage the increasing liabilities.
Do you think Sacramento should bail out the city of Los Angeles and their budget shortfall? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Philip in Encino. Philip, hello.
Hey, I got to say, I'm just enjoying the decay of my city. I was born and raised here in the 1950s, and 80% of those people that got burned out in the Palisades wanted a black mayor because they believe in DEI. 80% of them wanted a lesbian fire chief. 80% of them support giving illegals free medical care. 80% of them believe we should be nice to the homeless. And 80% hate our great president, Donald J. Trump. So I say, let Nero fiddle, let the city burn, and if they ever catch that lopper who's destroying the trees downtown, I'm going to bail him out. God bless him, because this city needs to be treated like Sodom and Gomorrah as it was by God. Okay.
Well, there you go. We'll raise it all to the ground. Thanks so much for the call, Philip. Appreciate it. I do want to say I understand the sentiment, and some of those things are definitely true about residents of Los Angeles, but the Palisades actually overwhelmingly was supporting Rick Caruso. But it's neither here nor there, because each individual neighborhood doesn't get to vote. It's one giant bloated city. And yes, we picked Karen Bass, and God help us, we might pick her again. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Do you think Gavin Newsom should bail out the city of Los Angeles so they don't have to lay anybody off? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Kathy in beautiful Anaheim. Kathy, hello.
Hey, Randy. Hey, there's no way that Sacramento should bail out L.A. She sucks at her job. She needs to bite the bullet and figure out how to cut the budget. I mean if I take my paycheck and decide to go to Disneyland and then all of a sudden I can't pay my bills, I was an idiot. Same thing with her.
I think you make a really strong case. Thanks so much for the call, Kathy. Appreciate it. Is it just a little on the nose that someone from Anaheim makes a Disneyland reference? I mean, it's just, you're literally probably driving past it every day. But yes, Karen Bass is in a budget mess. And part of it is definitely her fault. Giving raises to everybody wasn't the greatest idea. Bumping up the salary of the ex-con community intervention worker from $40K to $60K. How many of those are we actually employing? That adds up right there. I didn't hear any talk, by the way, of salary cuts. And I think that should start at the top, even if it's just symbolic, because it doesn't affect that much of the budget. If you are losing this much money, every single member of the city council should donate half their salary to fix that budget shortfall. They make $220. Let's make it, let's make it an even $100K. Nobody who works in city government should be making $220,000 a year. I'm sorry. That's offensive. Let's go to Morris in West Hollywood. Morris, hello.
Yes, Randy, you're absolutely correct. The people voted for the pay increases. They're getting their burglar alarm paid on their housing. They're getting city vehicles, the gasoline paid for with a city credit card. And all that needs to be taken away. Why back after the Rodney King riot in 1992, Richard Riordan put on the ballot that the city council and the mayor shall earn the same pay as the California State Supreme Court justice. They're not even worth a quarter of what they're getting, most of them. And they have to show, number one, they make a start by giving back their salary. most of it anyhow. I would say at least 110,000. Return it. All right, could get back to city cars. They could drive their own. The cell phones we're paying for, they could use their own cell phone. You use your own cell phone. Why we have to pay for it? Everything is a donation, charity, donation, one after another. They get pay increases. They didn't come to the taxpayer for a pay increase. I mean, what's going on here? Constantly, just the money goes to the sky, and there's no limit. They don't think about a budget. And then when they have a shortfall in the budget, bingo. They're going to be layoffs now, and they're going to come to the taxpayer and get more money. They're going to probably raise the parking meter revenues, write more parking tickets, right? They'll go supposedly for the streets. They're going to dig us. They're going to drink our blood for more money for their constant misuse, misbehaving, and couldn't care less. And this city has gone downhill, helter-skelter, homeless on the street, ripping out the street wires, so everything is blacked out, and they don't really do anything about it. And it's just life is not life anymore. I mean, you can't go anywhere, you can't go out at night. There's too much crime, and all they're going is going to the bank. The former police chief moved away. He doesn't even live in L.A. anymore, and yet he got a nice pension out of this. You got the police chief now getting a pension over the salary. And why don't he give back that salary, Jim McDonald? Give that back 100%. All right, that's what, $400,000 a year. He's already getting a pension. I mean, this is double dipping, and this is going on and on and on to no limit. I don't know what else to tell you. This is just outrageous. So,
well, it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon, Morris, but thank you so much for the rant as always. Appreciate it. There are definite places to make cuts. I don't know if a bailout is really the smartest thing, especially when Karen Bass specifically promised certain departments that are not going to get any cuts because she doesn't want to offend the Black Lives Matter Los Angeles crowd. I'll play that sound for you when we come back. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. The city of Los Angeles is facing a massive budget shortfall. Karen Bass announced today that there will be layoffs unless she gets a bailout from Sacramento.
But I want to be straight with you. My proposed budget, unfortunately, includes layoffs, which is a decision of absolute last resort. The city attorney and I will be in Sacramento this week to meet with legislative leaders and advocate for resources, while also working to manage the increasing liabilities.
Do you think Karen Bass in the city of Los Angeles should get a bailout from the Sacramento government? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Do you think Gavin Newsom should bail out Karen Bass in her massive budget shortfall? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll get to you next. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's get back to the phones. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Joe in Corona. Joe, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Randy?
Doing great.
So I have a question. Why doesn't Newsom, instead of trying to fix and turn San Quentin State Prison into an apartment complex with a grocery store for murderers and rapists and child molesters, take the $250 million and give it back to the people of Palisades that need it to build their house? Let's not waste our money on inmates that, have done terrible things, and let's give it back to the people for once.
Oh, you forgot one, though, Joe. They're also getting a podcast studio.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget that they all have tablets inside where they can FaceTime, call, and text. And I know firsthand because I work at a prison.
Oh, yeah. It's only going to go from there because that's the priorities of the people that we elected in office. Let's spend a whole bunch of money to make the prison experience better. At the same time, let's make sure nobody goes to prison. It's fascinating. Thanks so much for the call, Joe. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. And look at this. The number of potential layoffs has been put out by LA City Controller Kenneth Mejia. In the mayor's proposed budget, there are going to be over 1,600 city employee layoffs unless they get a bailout. And who's getting the biggest layoffs? It's the LAPD, the civilian workforce of the LAPD, but that's a massive cut to the police department because if there's less civilians, then sworn officers are going to have to go into the office, which doesn't sound like a great idea. Wow, I guess Karen Bass is defunding the police. They're going to get 403 layoffs in the LAPD civilian division. Transportation department, 262 layoffs. Sanitation, 159. Really? Have you smelled this city? You want less trash workers? Street services, 130. Planning, 114. Who knows what they do? General services, 110. 83 engineers. 72 people in the personnel department. Well, a lot of those people don't know what they're doing to begin with. Animal services, 62 layoffs. Well, looks like the shelters are going to have more problems this year. The information tech agencies, 54. Contracted men, 31. What are some of these departments? The zoo is getting 31 cuts. Department of Building and Safety, 23. The Department of Cultural Affairs only has 14 layoffs. What do they do? Board of Public Works, 14. The city clerk's office, the people that run the city council meetings, 12 layoffs. The Community Investment for Families. What the hell is that? 12 layoffs there. City Administrative Officer, 11. The Department on Disability. The Civil Human Rights and Equity Department is getting 8 layoffs. That number seems kind of low. What the hell does that department do? Youth Development, 8 layoffs. Aging, 6 layoffs. Sworn firefighters, 5 layoffs. Wait a second. They are laying off firefighters? Oh my goodness. The Neighborhood Empowerment Department, 5 layoffs. What the hell is that? The Economic and Workforce Development, 2 layoffs. What the hell is that? What is El Pueblo de Los Angeles? Seems like there could be a lot more strategic cuts that aren't LAPD civilian officers, but at least she could say she didn't cut any sworn officers of the LAPD. Let's hear what Karen Bass told the people of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles on Friday.
So let me just give you 2 categories of funding. There's the Community Investment for Families Department, which is funded at $40 million. There's the department that Karen Lang is in charge of, the Gang Reduction and Youth Development Department, which is funded at $46 million. And there's the Economic Workforce Development Department, which is funded at $30 million. So none of those departments were cut.
No, we didn't cut any of those. We don't know what some of those do. We do know that the Gang Reduction Department was spending money on an actual gang for many, many years, but I guess that doesn't matter. But yeah, those were the departments that she did not cut. And then she was asked, but you got to cut the police. They got to defund them.
I most certainly was not trying to compare that to how policing is funded, because it doesn't compare. Police, if you look at any city budget, the majority of the budget is for public safety or policing. That is true. And frankly, I am not in a position now to reduce that money. I cannot. And I've said that before. I cannot.
Right now, I'm not in a position to reduce that budget. That's a weird thing to say. Now, let's hear Karen Bass talk about how she's going to make the city of LA's government more efficient.
Now, we're also taking steps to make our city run in a more efficient manner. We're going to consolidate departments, rebuild our reserves.
Hey, how about we get rid of all city-owned cars for city council members in the mayor's office, get rid of drivers, and everyone has to take Metro? How about that?
We're going to consolidate departments, rebuild our reserves, and reorganize structures with the number one goal of improving services for Angelenos. I was proud to have supported new labor contracts approved by the council that invested in our workforce,
including those ex-cons that got a 50% raise.
But now it is time to work together again so we can balance this year's budget.
By the way, I have nothing against a reformed convict, but I thought the whole point was when you're spending time inside, you're developing skills to help you on the outside. And if the only thing you're able to do when you get out of prison is work for the city in a job that doesn't do anything, because we have to pay you so you won't go back into crime? Something seems totally wrong with that.
But now it is time to work together again so we can balance this year's budget and create a foundation for long-lasting and long overdue fiscal stability. I will make sure the city does its part. I want to be clear the departmental changes contained in this budget proposal must only be the beginning, because we must have fundamental change starting now and moving forward. For example, upgrades or maintenance to a single street can involve the Board of Public Works, the Department of Transportation, the Bureau of Engineering, the Bureau of Street Services, the Bureau of Street Lighting, the Bureau of Sanitation, and the DWP.
All for one thing. I guess Sheng Tao was right.
The bureaucracy is real.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if LA gets a bailout, which I don't think is likely because then they'd have to do that to everybody. The layoffs are looming, and it doesn't look like the city's finances are going to get any better over the next year. But we'll keep track of this. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for your phone calls. You ever miss an episode of the show? Get it at kabc.com/newsblitz. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.